It's game one of the Eastern Conference semifinals between the 1 seed, the Chicago Bulls, and the upstart 5 seed, the Atlanta Hawks, who took down the Orlando Magic in the opening round. Before the game, Tom Thibodeau, he is the NBA's Coach of the Year, and yeah, he got a trophy for it. The Bulls proud of his efforts. He's been terrific this season in Chicago. First quarter, this guy's been terrific in Atlanta. Joe Johnson knocking down the jump shot. We have a theme alert for you. Atlanta already up by 10. Jamal Crawford with the alley-oop. Josh Smith on the business end of that play, and Atlanta's up 20-13. Later in the second quarter now, C.J. Watson just diving into the lane. He gets called for a charge on Jason Collins, and yeah, Tom Thibodeau doesn't like the call at all, so he argues the call, and he gets called for a technical foul. Later in the second, Derrick Rose on the break. And Derrick Rose on the break is tough to defend. Beautiful layup. He's a human fast-forward button. Watch him one more time. He's got the ball. Jeff Teague without the ball, trying to track him down, and that doesn't work at all. Those were Rose's first 2 points, and meanwhile also sharing. Kyle Korver outside, knocking down a triple. He was 3 of 4 from range. Luol Deng driving inside. That's an acrobatic layup from Luol Deng, who was 8 of 12 from the floor. Then Jamal Crawford, well, he's got an answer. Look at this. Speaking of acrobatic inside, he was 8 of 16 from the field. Atlanta up 51-48. Derrick Rose, beautiful dish at the end of the half to Carlos Boozer for the Lamb. Boozer went for 14 points and 8 boards. Atlanta up 51-50 at that point. Derrick Rose again. Look at the spin cycle move on Jeff Teague. Gets a little push shot to go in. Rose 11 of 27 from the field. Chicago in front at this point, 58-50. Then it's big men working together. Carlos Boozer over to an open Joakim Noah for the jam. Noah goes for 11 points and 9 boards. Chicago up 66-60. Back come the Hawks, though. Joe Johnson, a perfect 5 of 5 from distance, and that'll help your shooting percentage. Luol Deng knocks down a jump shot. Chicago goes up 68-65. Less than a minute to go in the third. That's Joe Johnson one more time. Old school three-point play. Watch Johnson work his way into the paint, double clutch, draws the contact, soft shot, and that one does indeed go. Into the fourth quarter we go. Jeff Teague getting the start in place of an injured Kirk Hinrich. The former Bull has a strained hamstring, but Jeff Teague helping the cause. Atlanta goes up 77-71. Then it's Jamal Crawford dishing out to Joe Johnson. We told you he made every 3 he took. So obviously, this one is going down, and Dominique, the Hawks legend, enjoying the proceedings. Joe Johnson went for a game-high 34 points. Derrick Rose led the Bulls with 24 points, and that cuts the lead down to 6. Joakim Noah rejected at the rack by Josh Smith. He doesn't like getting rejected at the rack. He thought it was a foul. He gets a technical foul called on him. Atlanta, less than 3 minutes to go. They're up by 11. Make it 9. Joakim's revenge on Josh Smith. That's 94-85 your score, but Joe Johnson, unbelievable in this game. What a delivery. What a clutch performance. And Jamal Crawford outside, chipping in with a 3 as well with just a $1:05 to go in the game. 101-90. We flash back. This is their first round series, the Bulls' first round series against the Pacers. Derrick Rose sprains his left ankle. It was obviously a source of concern for the Chicago Bulls. Then it's a source of concern again at the end of this game. Time running out. Derrick Rose rolls that left ankle again, this time on Jamal Crawford's foot. Derrick Rose, after the game, said he was okay, but stick and stay with NBA.com for any updates on his condition. The condition of the Hawks is good. They win the first game of this series. Final score 103-95.
Here it is, game 2, Hawks and Bulls. Hawks won game 1, and yeah, the ankle's good enough to hold up the trophy.
His knees, Mark.
Okay, it was his knees.
Quit crying, Kev. It's all right.
He looks okay there, guys.
Looks very smooth, getting to the lane what he does best.
How about Damian Wilkins?
Getting to the rim.
Playing well this whole series. Playing defense the first game, playing well. You know, if they had his energy and would attack the baskets, not take bad shots, they might have a better chance in this series.
Derrick Rose for 3 there. 12 in the quarter for D. Rose, and we go to the second. Now, Jeff Teague
Confident.
for 3. 12 first half points for him. Now Rose is going to miss here, but Noah's got his back. 12 points, 8 boards in the first half for him. Rose driving and dishing this time. Boozer there. Boy, that looked like Boozer should have his old Utah uniform back on that one.
Pick and roll.
Rose now. Baseline and, yeah, getting it to go. 12-4 Chicago run, and that would lead Hawks coach Larry Drew to try and rally the troops.
As good as we were the last game, we have reverted back to taking a bunch of bad shots. We can't do that, not on the road. And when you do that, you give a team life, and that's what we've done.
I don't know if he was rallying so much as pleading with his team. Take better shots.
Preaching, that's what he was doing like he was in the pregame.
Joe Johnson is a tough shot maker.
Yes, he is.
He hits that fadeaway, and then the pick and the prance and the one.
You know the thing about Joe Johnson, you forget how big he is. Joe Johnson's a legit 6'8".
Good point.
Yeah, Atlanta made a run, but every time they seem to be getting it close, back comes Derrick Rose and the Bulls. 25 in the game for him. We go to the fourth. Luol Deng knocking the ball away from Joe Johnson, but Teague gets it, and we got our circus shot of the game.
Well, you got a shot of a guy now with confidence, and your coach is like giving you the freedom to go out there and beat you.
He had 21 points in the game, and Chicago again comes right back. Korver for 3. Boozer on the inside.
Just like Greg was talking about their defense, they run great sets, and Derrick Rose makes the proper decisions down the stretch.
Noah, 19 and 14 in the game for him, 75-61. Atlanta tries to answer again, an 8-0 run of their own. Horford hitting the jumper. Josh Smith struggled mostly throughout this game, but gets it inside and lays it in. And one, so the lead was again down to 6, but again, Chicago would answer. Luol Deng, Coach Thibodeau praising his efforts after the game. Rose again with the jumper.
His efforts as well.
And his efforts.
And he was praising.
Well, you saw there, guys.
Efforts as well.
The last 3 minutes of the game, you saw Chicago get quality shots, good shots, and you saw the Hawks could not even get to the free throw line, let alone get a good shot.
After splitting in Chi-Town, the Hawks and Bulls series shifted to A-Town on Friday. The Hawks hosting their first second-round game since 1997, when they were also tied 1-1, coincidentally, with the Bulls, who still had the best player in basketball even back then, except his name was Michael Jordan. You may have heard of him. Jeff Teague, coming off a solid effort in Game 2. Pretty good night tonight. 11 points in the first quarter, 21 for the game. Problem is he had to check Derrick Rose. D. Rose got off to a good start, and he kept it going. There's Teague for the slam. He was 5 of 6 shooting in the first quarter. Rose, though, just crosses Teague up. Ooh-wee. Through the paint, throws it down. Rose tied his career playoff record with 17 points in a quarter to start this game. Kyle Korver chipping in. He knocks down the 3. It's a 40-29 game, and the Bulls are just clowning. The fake behind the back from Watson, Gibson, then puts it up and in. The Bulls bench outscored the Hawks bench 21-6 in the first half. Luol Deng, damn. 3-pointer from the wing. This thing's circus ugly. Derrick Rose, though, maybe a little over-anxious trying to get the steal here. Pays for it. Injures his hand going for the steal. He will be all right, though. Got that finger fixed right up. You know, there's a number of celebrities in the crowd. That was Emmanuel Lewis from, TV's Webster, of course. Jerome the Bus Bettis, stay out of his way, and Scottie Pippen. Bulls great. Back to the stuff that really counts. That's D. Rose. Finger looking good. Knocks down the 3. Then he gets past Teague. He's the MVP for a reason, folks, in case you didn't know. Beautiful feed from Joakim Noah. Rose lays that one in. 69-53 at that point, later in the game. The Hawks showing a little something. Josh Smith goes to the rack, 17 points, 13 rebounds for him. It's still a 17-point game, though, and D. Rose is still on the floor. That's bad news for the opponents. 34 points through 3 quarters for D Rose. Misses here, but he's got some buddies. Taj Gibson underneath the board and the bucket. Noah and Gibson combined for 15 offensive rebounds in the game. 13-point lead for the Bulls. Al Horford gets the jam. Just trying to make this thing respectable at this point. Only problem is D Rose doesn't have much respect for that notion. 4 of 7 from long range, just dropping folks off. That would include you, Mr. Jamal Crawford. Rose, not just a playoff, but a career high. 44 points in this one as the Bulls reclaim home court advantage with a 2-1 series edge. Game 4 back at Phillips on Sunday.
The Atlanta Hawks upset the top-seeded Chicago Bulls in Game 1 of their Eastern Conference semifinals matchup, but since then, the Bulls have won 2 straight in convincing fashion. Look at the Hawks moms receiving Mother's Day bouquets before the game, and that's the player that all their sons had to stop. It's Derrick Rose coming off a career-high 44 in the Game 3 win. How about Keith Bogans going for a ride on some skates there? Joe Johnson crossing him up, and yeah, that leaves a little space for Jeff Teague when Keith Bogans is just leaning down on the court like that. Terrific move from Joe Johnson in the first quarter. Teague 6 of 12 from the field. Taj Gibson coming up with the steal on Jamal Crawford, and Taj Gibson goes the other way for the easy little jam. 7 ties and 7 lead changes in the first quarter. We're in quarter number 2 now. Kyle Korver with the miss. Josh Smith with the rebound. Josh Smith doing it all for the Hawks on this night. Up top, Al Horford bringing it home. Efficient night for Horford. 9 of 11 from the field. Hawks up 40-33. Later in the second quarter, Derrick Rose, the human pogo stick, misses, and then just jumps right back up and throws it down. That's your point guard doing this. Watch it one more time. Nobody boxes him out. Yeah, he'll just throw that one right down. Rose led the Bulls with 13 points in the first half. Joe Johnson, well, he did a little better than Rose. He had 15 points to lead everyone in the first half. He was 3 of 5 from distance. Into the third quarter we go. Derrick Rose just right by Josh Smith on the drive to the bucket. That cuts the lead down to 2, 63-61. Rose 12 of 32 from the field. Luol Deng missing. Josh Smith with the rebound and then just zinging up to the other end of the court. And Joe Johnson gets the land. Look at this. Josh Smith playing quarterback on this one, and that's just too easy for Joe Johnson, who led the Hawks with 24 points. Later in the third, Chicago coming back behind. Carlos Boozer playing like Charlie Hustle out there. 7 of 10 from the field. Nice fake there, drive to the rack and lay it in. He had 18 points, and Chicago in front, 69-67. We're in the fourth quarter now. Joe Johnson working it with Josh Smith, who misses, and then Josh Smith makes. Look at him go up and throw that one down. He wanted the foul, and he may have been right on that play. Later in the fourth quarter, Derrick Rose inside teardrop hoop and harm. How in the world do you stop the guy? 34 points and 10 assists. You see why he is the MVP. Josh Smith rebounding the Rose miss. Up ahead, Jeff Teague sharing with Al Horford, who lays that one in. And Atlanta on a bit of a run at the right time late in the game. Derrick Rose wanted a foul on this one. Jamal Crawford jumps up and somewhat into him. It was ruled an inadvertent whistle. No three-point shot, no three-point foul. And Tom Thibodeau obviously not pleased with that call. Josh Smith again delivering. Al Horford, easy jam there. He had 20. Then Jeff Teague, stand and deliver, replacing Kirk Hinrich in this series. Hinrich is injured. Teague is in, and the Hawks even the series at 2 games apiece. They win this one by a dozen. Final score, 100-88. It's down to a best of 3 for the right to go to the Eastern Conference Finals and face the winner of Miami and Boston. Atlanta and Chicago tied at 2 games apiece. Josh Smith coming off a big game, 23 points and 16 rebounds. There is the MVP. He always has a big game. First quarter, Derrick Rose finding Luol Deng, and Luol Deng started hot. He scored 9 of the Bulls' first 12 points early on. Chicago up 7-2. Atlanta in transition. Josh Smith crossing up Deng and then just manning up on Deng, throwing that one down. 6 of 14 from the field. Chicago's lead is at 12-9. Derrick Rose. Watch the speed here all the way to the hole. Nothing you can do to stop him. He was 12 of 32 in Game 4. How about 11 of 24 in Game 5? Luol Deng sharing with Keith Bogans. Bogans had 8 first-quarter points, including going 2 of 2 from distance as we move you into the second quarter now. And Josh Smith inside to Zaza Pachulia. Pachulia had 11 points in the first half off the bench for Atlanta. Later in the second quarter, Carlos Boozer with the left, please. Strong move from Boozer, 11 points, 12 rebounds in the game. That's a double-double. Taj Gibson now finding Derrick Rose on the baseline for the power lay-in. That's a point guard doing that. Derrick Rose, 15 points, 5 assists in the first half. Chicago up by 10. Then it's Joe Johnson inside. Hoop and harm off the dish from Al Horford. Johnson just 15 points on the game, though. Josh Smith reversing on the layup. Chicago did not make a field goal in the final 6 minutes of the second quarter. Their lead down to 4 at that point, 46-42. They're up by 5 later in the third, and look at this. A little Tim Hardaway impression from Derrick Rose. Nice crossover. Just shaking Jeff Teague. Draws the foul, makes the shot. He's got a jump shot now. Jeff Teague, though, answering back. How about the story for the little-used second-year man out of Wake Forest? He led Atlanta in scoring with 21 points, mixed in 7 assists. Here's one to Josh Smith throwing that one down. He had 16 points. Then after the play, a little bit of afters. That's right. Carlos Boozer raises the little forearm there, and Josh Smith doesn't like it one bit. Double technicals, one for each player awarded on that little exchange. Later, Al Horford outside. Josh Smith, no. Yeah, it goes. Josh Smith knocks down the shot, and Atlanta hanging tough. They get their first lead of the game, fourth quarter now, and this is when Chicago really started tearing it up. Luol Deng inside with the layup. They led by 1 going to the fourth quarter. Derrick Rose over to Taj Gibson, and Taj Gibson really played well down the stretch for Chicago. Perfect from the field in the fourth quarter. There's Derrick Rose one more time. Chicago goes up by 8, just taking control in the game. Derrick Rose again crossing up Josh Smith, but Josh Smith getting back to block the shot. Atlanta turns it over. Josh Smith again, no foul called on this one, but a goaltend called on the Ronnie Brewer effort, so the Bulls come away with their 2 points anyhow. 5 minutes to go in the fourth. Jeff Teague outside. Al Horford, he knocks down the jump shot. Atlanta still hanging around. They're down by 6. Later, down by 8. Derrick Rose one more time. 33 points on the night. Chicago now up by 10 in the fourth quarter. There's Taj Gibson again, driving all the way in, gets the shot to go. 5 of 5 from the field. Chicago goes on to take this one by a dozen. They lead the series 3-2. Your final score, 95-83.
The Chicago Bulls with a chance to advance to the conference finals for the first time since 1998 Thursday night, up 3-2 against the Hawks, looking to close things out in the ATL. Esteemed company as well. Early on, Bulls playing some defense, turning it into offense. That's what Coach Thibodeau liked to see. Luol Deng with the steal. He gets it over to D. Rose for one of his signature reverses. Check out the ball movement here. Nice find there by Boozer to Joakim Noah. 2 of his 11 on the night. Hawks trying to respond. Josh Smith is going to put it up and in. Bulls still leading by 5. Booze with the Rainbow J. He had a big night. Nice double-double. Bulls out by 10 and still coming. This thing got ugly in a hurry. And this was a pretty ugly play. Check out Jeff Teague going down hard on that wrist. He would lead the game momentarily. Had it treated. And he's a tough young fella. He would return to the game, getting his Rajon Rondo on. Meanwhile, there's Jamal Crawford to the bucket. Hawks trying to get back in it. But the Bulls had an answer almost every time. Brewer puts it up and in. Then Watson gets the steal. Looking, finds Korver, who then finds Taj Gibson for the jam. Booze likes to see that. It's a 45-31 game now. Hawks off and running, and oh my goodness. Josh Smith punches on Joakim Noah while having his other arm yanked down. That's crazy. 50-37 now. Bulls off and running. There's D. Rose with the easy flushing. You could see this thing getting out of hand. Hawks just did not come with the same type of energy and intensity that this Bulls team came with. The score indicative of that. Boozer, 23 points and 10 rebounds. D Rose, 19 points, 12 assists for him. Omer Sheik even got in on the action as he booms on Zaza Pachulia's head. Why he did that? The Bulls leading comfortably, 74-55. The pedal is still to the metal. D Rose, the two-handed monster mash, and that was all she wrote. The Bulls eliminate the Hawks in 6 games, moving on to the East Finals for the first time since the MJ days, where the Heat await on Sunday.